What is up, ladies and gents? It's your boy Lou Streets back with some more LSV. And in this video, I want to talk about this Takeda tweet because I haven't seen it. I've been avoiding this tweet for the longest because I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't checked it out. And on top of that, I also want to talk about the Mortal Kombat 1 entry number in Evo. But let's start off with this first. Let's check it out. Ed Boon says Takeda marks the last Kombat Pack 1 fighter and Farrah the final Kombat Pack 1 cameo so far. So that implies that there's a Kombat Pack 2, and I have heard some news about that, but I'll get into that later. Here's a quick taste of what to expect with Takeda. We look forward to supporting MK1 far beyond this and would love to get some feedback from the community. It sounds like, just based on the tweet, the language of the tweet, how he keeps saying so far and supporting and far beyond this, it sounds like a call to action to say that there's more coming, but we need your support because they kind of know that the game has been in a wishy-washy state. But even so, let's check this out. Let's see what this looks like. Takeda.
My losing streak against you ends today. Only if your combat has improved.
Get back over here. That's the MKX stuff right there. That looks very MKX friendly. Run that back one more time.
My losing streak against you ends today. Only if your combat has improved.
Special cancel with an amp? Maybe? Let me zoom that in. I want to see something. Was that a special cancel with an amp? Let me see something here. Well, it's so short that if I press rewind, it's gonna go to the beginning.
My losing streak against you ends today. Only if your combat has improved.
Okay, it was definitely an amp on the 3 stars that bounced back to him. That was the amp. I want to see if the first part was the amp where you teleported. Let's see that one more time.
My losing streak against you ends today. Only if your combat has improved.
Nah, no amp on that, so that might be a regular string of cookies get canceled. Definitely an amp on the 3 ninja stars though. And did y'all peep something? I actually did notice this. Listen to it one more time.
My losing streak against you ends today.
My losing streak against you ends today. And that's Kuai Liang Scorpion. Is this Hanzo? Remember when they referred to Hanzo being like a child or something like that? I haven't seen the end of the tower, so this could be confirmed. You know me, I never really play against the computer. I only play against people online. So this could be confirmed and I haven't seen it, but I get the impression that that's Hanzo. Because what does he mean by my losing streak ends against you today? They're in the same colors, so I'm going to assume that Takeda is Shirai Ryu in this version of the game, and he's talking to Kuai Liang like they have history. So let me just hear that one more time.
My losing streak against you ends today. Only if your combat has improved.
Only if your combat has improved. That sounds like the student talking to his sensei. Don't you guys think? All right, so Takeda looks pretty cool. Takeda looks pretty cool. Okay, so that's pretty awesome. Let's get into this Mortal Kombat 1 Evo entry. Let me go check out that number. Let me go find it again. Okay, so let's check this out for the one time because I made a tweet about this and I feel strongly about it. And it probably seems like I'm shitting on Mortal Kombat 1, but I'm not necessarily doing that. Oh, look at me down there trying to get saucy with Law. You know, I like to put my content on my Twitter as well. But besides that, let's look at these entry numbers, right? For the registration leaderboard for Evo. Street Fighter 6 came out last year, June, right? 5,200 people. Tekken 8 came out this year, January. 4,600 people. Mortal Kombat is all the way down here at 645. There could be many reasons for this. There could be many reasons for this, right? In regards to tournament payouts, dev support, crowdfunding, all these different things you can come up with. I'm gonna keep things very simple from my side of the fence. I think this just speaks to the quality of the game. And as you see in my tweet, I say that this is the humbling that NRS needs. And my main reason for saying that is because it's like this, right? I don't like to bash Mortal Kombat 1, but I've gotten to a point where I can enjoy Mortal Kombat 1 for what it is, but I know for a fact it's not within the ballpark of Tekken 8 or Street Fighter 6. And it's really disappointing, and it's for super obvious reasons. All the features that it didn't have when it first came out. I don't really think that people like the cameo system. I'm not really a large fan of the cameo system. Like, I'll play it, but it's more so that I've gotten to this point that Tekken is so hard to play because it's such a large challenge, because there's so much stuff to know, that it makes Mortal Kombat 1 more fun because of the fact that it's simple. Now, I don't mean that as necessarily a compliment. Some people could see that me saying that it's more fun means I enjoy it. It's not that I enjoy it, it's less things to worry about. And even though the things that you worry about in there are unga bunga, it's enjoyable for the fact that it's not as hard as Tekken. But in reality, I wanted Mortal Kombat 12. And I think that this number is a clear indicator. You can't say it's got anything to do with time, because Mortal Kombat 1 just came out in September. Street Fighter has essentially passed a year now. Street Fighter came out last June, and I'm recording this on July 4th. So Street Fighter came out last June. So Street Fighter has been over a year, and it's at the top of the list. So that tells you what people feel about that game. Tekken came out in January, and Tekken's just getting started. Tekken hasn't got deep into their DLC. It's many more guest characters to come. So I can see this number actually going up for Tekken in the future for next Evo or just other big tournaments. Mortal Kombat 1, this number is only going to go down based on prizes, based on the reputation of the game, based on the cameos that are coming out, them trying to tweak things. I just don't think it's an overall good product in comparison to these two. It's not a terrible product, but it's not a good product in comparison to these two. I'm not worried about the rest of the games on the list because we're focusing on the big three, which are Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and then Mortal Kombat. I just think the overall biggest problem with the game is people don't like cameos, bro. Cameos aren't fun. I mean, they're not fun when in regards to like creativity, but I actually saw a video that Tweety made the other day where he was talking about saving Mortal Kombat 1. And it's funny because I've been having this video idea in my head for like a few months, right? But I was pretty much saying the way that you would save Mortal Kombat 1, you got to make it full tag, which is going to take a lot of time to make all the cameos full characters, or you got to make it a 1v1 game. I think when it comes down to everything else, when you outplay somebody and you beat them and you feel like that you're just beating them in neutral, it's a very fulfilling feeling, right? You get that feeling in Street Fighter 6 and you get it in Tekken 8. Some people don't like Drive Rush and Drive Impact, but even in Street Fighter 6 you get that feeling. Some people don't like Heat and Rage Art, but even in Tekken 8 you get that feeling. In Mortal Kombat, you can do something unga bunga and call out a cameo to cover you, and I don't think they should be used that way. So that's one thing I agree with Tweety on. And then the second thing is that I just think it doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat. Like, when I watch Mortal Kombat 11 footage, when I watch the atmosphere of the universe as far as how the game looks and how it feels, how it plays, the blood, the KBs, Mortal Kombat 1 is like a really pretty game, and Mortal Kombat 1 isn't meant to be pretty. I think the main thing with Mortal Kombat 1 is just that they lost their identity, and then it seems to be like this half-ass release and all that stuff that started early on, but overall, it just doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat. And it's to the point that now it's 2024. Let's say that this game runs the course of its life and lasts, I'm gonna be generous. Let's say this game can last 3 years from release. So that would push us to the back end of 2026, right? So we get done with that, the next game has to come out. It's no way they can come back with a third Mortal Kombat game in a row, especially with how this one went out, right? So you would have to assume it's Injustice 3 or something else, which means that the next Mortal Kombat game probably won't come out till like 2030. And really, if Injustice 3 does well, it's more like 2031, 2032, because Injustice should last about 4 to 5 years if it was to come out in 2026. So I think the thing is they lost their identity, and when you think about Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, they're just better versions of what they used to be. A large problem with the Mortal Kombat franchise in general is they keep overhauling the game. And while that's doable on occasion, when you have something that's really, really good like Mortal Kombat 11, regardless of the gripes, it was really, really good. And then you go to Mortal Kombat 1, that seems to be a step in the wrong direction. And on top of that, lost its identity. It makes it hard to come back with your next game because MKX is different from MK11. MK11 is different from MK1. And MK9 was different from MKX, even though I never played it. But that's kind of been the overall reputation of these games. So when you see these numbers, I think it's just a clear indicator of what people feel about the game. And we do have people that are NRS loyalists. I've seen them make a lot of excuses. I've seen creators do it. I've seen streamers do it. I've seen competitive players do it. They're making a lot of excuses about the number, but it's like, hey man, if we gotta be honest with our community and with our game that we love, because it's the only way for things to improve. And I know deep down that Ed Boon and the team over there, Stephanie, Derek, all them, Tyler, I know they're looking at the numbers and they're like, I know when you want to say something that you care about. Because the thing is, I think it's become very trendy for people to make a lot of Mortal Kombat 1 hate content. I don't really want to make that. I kind of went through that phase where I was bashing the game. Then I just had to accept that Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6 was better. But I think I'm to the point where it's like beating a dead horse or kicking somebody where they're down. I don't really want to make any more fun of Mortal Kombat 1. I do want to share honest opinions that will help them kind of bounce back from this. So I think that when you see numbers like this, it's just the humbling that NRS needs, whether it's NRS, whether it's WB, whether they need to separate, however they need to salvage this situation. This should be the worst Mortal Kombat game of all time, in my opinion, which means that the next one should be the greatest one, because they got to really put their time into it and see, what did we do wrong? I think Mortal Kombat 11 was as close to peak as you get. I know some people would disagree with me and say Mortal Kombat X, but my personal favorite from a gameplay perspective, from an artwork perspective, and from a system mechanics perspective, mine is the things that we want to change, that they changed in Mortal Kombat 1 but then brought new problems. Mine is those things. I think Mortal Kombat 11 was peak, right? So in the next game, you should get rid of cameos. Cameos should never be a thing again. I don't mind full tag mode. I honestly would prefer the option. That would make it even more fun. Give us a 1v1 and a full tag mode if you want to switch it up that way. And even in the full tag mode, make it be where you can go 4 players online and you can cooperate. That'll be super dope. Like, give us those game modes and that creativity and that innovation. But overall, bring back the OG style of artwork in a much doper way. So basically make a Mortal Kombat 11 and a half, Mortal Kombat 12 as far as artwork goes. 1v1 or either 2v2 or both, which I think is a great option. A large roster with a lot of variety and different play styles, and then no variations. Give us fully kitted characters. Like, Tekken 8 is so deep when it comes to movesets, it can be overwhelming as far as fighting against it. But at the same time, think about the endless journey where you can continue to play as long as you don't get burnt out, because it's so much more to know and do versus learning matchups and adding different play styles to your own character where you can use different tools and things like that to expand your gameplay ability, right? So I think that Mortal Kombat 1 kind of needs that, but overall, they just can't drop the ball like this again. And as much as I don't want to see Mortal Kombat 1 do poorly, I think that sometimes you got to just take your whipping to understand that, okay, I did this wrong. Let me go back to the drawing board. That's like a life lesson in general, like just getting your ass kicked in some part of life, going back to the drawing board, seeing what you did right, patting yourself on the back for that, but correcting all the things you did wrong. It's so many things wrong with Mortal Kombat 1 that it almost seems unreal, right? Because Mortal Kombat 11 launched so well, even against COVID and all of that not really being able to be fully supported because of COVID, Mortal Kombat 1 really did well. Like, of all the Mortal Kombat games I enjoy Mortal Kombat 11 the most by far, and that's with all the bullshit in it. So imagine Mortal Kombat 11 with none of the bullshit and just all good stuff. All the great things from Mortal Kombat 1 as far as combo breaker, combo variety and things like that, and then take out the bullshit like breakaway mechanic, some of the J slight gas cabal, take away the upgraded Jackie nonsense, all of that nonsense. They really could have had it, and I think that's what's probably more disappointing than anything else when it comes to Mortal Kombat 1 is like, like they kind of had it, like they had lightning in the bottle. They were right there. So to not expand upon that and then see Tekken 7, well, Tekken 8 now, to see Tekken 8 expand upon Tekken 7 and to see Street Fighter 6 expand upon Street Fighter 5, and to see Mortal Kombat 1 just completely deviate from what they had in Mortal Kombat 11, which was a huge success. I mean, you got to think, if people cope for Mortal Kombat 1 this much and they still play it, that means that they would have did the same thing with 11. So when people talk all that trash about Mortal Kombat 11 being the worst fighting game, well, how did it last so long? Because 645 is bad, bro. We got Street Fighter Third Strike in here. They have 1,100 participants. This game is old as hell. You got Under Night in here is at 785, which isn't a large number, but it's still larger than Mortal Kombat 1. And King of Fighters is at 375. But Mortal Kombat 1 only has, 270 more participants. So, I mean, it's not even close like that. You impressed by my math, ain't you? But it's not even close like that. But then you look at Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, them alone account for it's right underneath 2,000 players. It's like 9,900 something. I don't feel like putting all the numbers together, but it's right in that ballpark. It's like 9,900 something. It looks to be 9,911 if I add that up correctly. I could be a little bit off. It's somewhere in that ballpark. But 9,000 players, and you got Mortal Kombat 1 down here at 645. So I think this is a situation where they just need this humbling. That's what I really, really think. And let me go check out these Ed Boon tweets, because he was asking about some innovative stuff. So I can see him trying to really bring it back. But I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, bro. Let's go check out Ed Boon's tweets one more time. So let me get back to Ed Boon's tweets, right? Because we know there was a time when the team went radio silent. Now they seem to be giving a little more communication because they feel like that they got the game going back in the right direction, which isn't a terrible thing, but I think overall you can't save this product. Like, you can make it where people will still play it and try to get into it, but this product will never live up to the hype that is Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. Like, it's just a done deal. The product is what it is, and that's mainly because the cameos are too important to the game, and people don't really like the whole cameo system in general. Now, if you were to do 2v2, 2v2 is probably the one way you can save the game. If you legitimately fully kitted out the cameo characters and made this a 2v2 game, that could legitimately save this game, but that would take a lot of work. I don't know if they want to put that type of time in. So that's neither here or there, but that's the only real way to save this game. As far as Ed Boon asking these questions, let's see what he says. Which 5 fighters from the main roster do you feel could use the most love to make them better, unchained, formidable, and fervent? I don't want to see the replies. I will take a quick glance, because people are answering, you know, they're putting different characters down there, but I think overall it's kind of unimportant what the answers are. I think the main thing is the fact that they're trying to salvage the product, so that's one thing. He asked the same question for which cameos do you feel could use the most love? So then we get outside of that. For cameos, what do you want to see more of? More cameo fighters, that got 40%. More ambush moves, that got 34%, or more special moves. I think generally more ambush would be the most fun. I don't think more cameos really matter, because more cameos, the current cameos that you have aren't even viable in all situations. So I think maybe it's what? I can't remember the number off the top of my head. It might be like 12 to 14 cameos right now, maybe 14 to 16. But the point is, all of them aren't even playable from an enjoyable perspective, because they're too specific and they're too limited. In my opinion, all the cameos should have combo extension. All of them should have some type of mobility or defensive aspect, and then some type of pushback mechanic. That's all that they really need. You need to have more ambushes, and you need to have them more fun in combos, because it's certain cameos that you just have to pick more for combos. If you want to use Movado and Scorpion for combos, that's pretty much like your main options. It's a few other ones, but for the most part, those are the two go-tos. You don't really see Goro get used for a whole lot unless he's being used with either Tanya or what's his name, Kung Lao. So it's like, there's just limitations in that way. You see a lot of Raiden and Cyrax, Raiden and Kano. Everybody seems to be so specific, there doesn't feel like enough freedom. So that's one of the main things. This whole list about what do you want to see more of, we want to see the cameos that are in the game be useful in a way that all of them can be swappable. You don't want to have feeling like that you got to play with like 4 or 5 for a particular character. So that's one issue. We had the double XP weekend, so like they're trying to salvage the game by giving you like double XP with, you know, double XP towards your profile, towards your fighter, towards your cameo and invasions. But it's like, fam, you just can't really save it all. So I'm just curious to see what Ed Boon's tweeting. They gave out a free Melina reward, the Bloody Generous costume palette to add to your inventory. But I think overall, these questions can be answered. And as you see, people are down here replying because they're going to. A shout out to the homegirl Molly. She's down there replying about Lee May smoking the tar, that they need some buffs. But I think overall, the only real way to save this game, especially based on that Evo number, and this is we're not even at a year. A year isn't to September. It feels like Mortal Kombat been out for a long time, but it's got 2 months left before we even get to a full year. And you see the reputation of this game has gone downward for sure. So I think there's no real way to save the game except for if you make it a 2v2 fighting game and you fully kit out the cameos, but I think that would just be hard, right? But at the same time, if they were to do that, it would feel like a completely new game, because there would be full move sets for all the cameos. So that's essentially 14 new characters right there, just based off moves alone. 14 to 16 new characters, and then a new game mode. I think that's the only way you can really save this game. But outside of that, I just think that these numbers for Evo, that's just the humbling the NRS needs. Let me go back to my original tweet. I just want to see that number one more time. What was the number? The number was 645 participants. You can blame that on money, prize pools, all of that. I just think this speaks to the quality of the product. I mean, because even if the money was low, some people would just play for the fun of the game and for the love of the game. I just think this speaks to the quality of the product. So I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. They talking about Combat Pack 2 still coming. I've been hearing rumors about Sector and Cyrax are backing it, but they're women players now. They're women fighters, which has been upsetting some people. But it kind of sounds like, based on those tweets, Ed Boon was almost saying, stick around so we can get the Combat Pack 2. If you guys don't stick around and we're only getting 645 participants in tournaments, how do we even get to our main plan? That's kind of how it kind of read when he said that. I could be reading too much into it, but that's how it felt to me. So let me know what you guys think. Is Takeda going to save the game, which I don't really think is savable without going full 2v2? And then as far as Combat Pack 2, are we really going to get that, or is the game not even going to survive that long? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So next time, it's your boy Lou Streets. I am out. Peace.